take you back to our flooding story in KZN. We're joined by KZN Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Spokesperson Siboniso Mngadi. Good afternoon and welcome to Full View, Siboniso. Perhaps to just firstly confirm for us that indeed the number of fatalities stands at 5 now as being reported.
Yes, this afternoon our disaster management team confirmed that the number of fatalities has risen to 5 people after one body was discovered this afternoon. So we can confirm that at this stage, 5 people have sadly passed away after the heavy rain in the area of Market on Sunday night.
Then to the areas most affected by the heavy downpours, which are those?
Yeah, the Market CPD was the most affected area, but there's also other surrounding areas that were also affected. But there were also incidents that were reported in eThekwini in Ward 99, that is South Coast, like Umkamaba areas, where people's houses have been affected. So, but most of the devastation was reported in the area of, in the CPD of Market Town, particularly in the beachfront and along the main road, that is as you enter the town, that was the most affected part of the town.
Now, have you been able to place the residents whose homes were flooded, as you state, in alternative accommodation in the interim?
Well, maybe at this stage we have no families that have been evacuated from their homes, because even though those that have their houses have been partially destroyed, but they still managed to have a shelter over their heads. So at this stage, we have not evacuated anyone or to keep anyone to the mass care centers.
And what measures do you have in place, though, as the rain is expected to persist?
Yeah, our disaster teams remain on high alert, because we are currently on level 5 alert of disruptive rain that have been speculated by the South African weather services. Our teams are closely monitoring the area, particularly in the area of eThekwini and Market. There are areas that we have identified as high-risk areas. So what we have done, we have opened community halls and other public facilities that can be used as safety haven. So should we foresee the level of water getting higher, then we'll ask people to be temporarily relocated to those facilities. We are doing this to ensure that no one loses life during this period. But also we are pleading with the motorist or anyone that will be using the road, particularly now at night while it's still raining. We are pleading with anyone to try and postpone the trip, because we have lost life because people, they do drive while bridges are flooded. And also there are quite a number of rivers and streams that have already been flooded.
So you talk of specific areas that you have indicated or identified as high-risk areas. Can you perhaps just share those areas for us, just for the benefit of those that might have not received the announcement and listening tonight and wanting to make sure to get to those community halls, if indeed their area is among those?
Yeah, well, there is quite a number of areas, particularly informal settlement, that are built along the river banks. There's quite a number of them in South Coast and eThekwini areas. So we've worked together with the ward councillors, we work together with social partners at work. There's quite a number of them. Those areas that are along the river banks mostly. And those areas, particularly in eThekwini, there's an area in Isipingo that is along the river bank that has been flooded previously in a number of times. So those areas, we have kept a close eye on them, particularly when we have alerts such as level 4 and level 5. We always monitor them very closely, and we have community halls that have already been open for anyone to use them if you don't feel safe in your home. So they are open as we speak, and our teams are closely monitoring the situation. We are working together with the ward councillors, with our disaster partners such as Red Cross, Alim Dad Foundation, that are always assisting us in terms of disaster response.
And now, Mr. Mngadi, in closing, there's also been a warning for excessive lightning. And we tend to take for granted that some people might still not genuinely know the do's and don'ts when experiencing lightning. So what should residents in the identified areas do or should not do?
Yeah, we strongly advise people not to walk out, particularly under the trees when there is lightning. We also advise people to open some windows so there would be a free flow of air in the house. So because it does not like the area where it is too hot. it poses a serious threat to lightning. But what we are also doing, we are also installing lightning conductors, particularly in open areas like in the rural areas where we've seen quite a number of incidents where people have been struck by lightning. So we together, our teams are also installing those lightning conductors as we respond to this disaster. We'll continue to do so as we've been doing. It's just that the unfortunate part is that these disasters strike where you thought maybe you have got all the ground covered. But we strongly advise them to be inside, not to try to travel while there is lightning or it's raining, and also not to try to hide under the trees.
All right, Siboniso, thank you very much for your time this evening. That's KZN Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Spokesperson Siboniso Mngadi, just sharing some of the measures they have in place as the bad weather is expected to persist.